Hello to whoever is watching this. I just wanted to do a quick showcase of some modifications I did to the mod. None of them are visual, they're more like in the structure on the mod. I had seen on the source code that there were some to-dos that were based off like splitting the code itself. Like if I go to the fabric branch, which I haven't modified in the desktop, there are some to-dos related to actually splitting the code. For example, there are some codes in, let's say, entity config that would ideally be made client-sided. You see this? So what I decided to do in the past days was I cloned the repository and I made a new branch. I called it Refactor. Yes, it does have a different project name from the original. I had to use a new mod template because it gave me way too many errors trying to fix the current template. But anyway, that's something for later. What I did was I transferred most of the files and I had to split some files in particular. For example, the physics file, I had to make an interface for it so like that the server side code could access the functions like pseudo functions and know the return types. So like that now objects like the client entity data, which can be found over here, they have a client side representation. The server side code is basically almost the same. The difference is I stripped out most of the physics related code. I only keep over here specifically the code for validating if breast physics is enabled, and then on the client side I just implement the variables that I have removed. And for player configuration I did something similar, and then I moved the rendering logic, changed the import styles, and I also had to remove out from the networking class for syncing information the client code, so like that now it's basically fully separate. And my future goals for the mod is something that I had done with an older version of it for 1.21.8 of Minecraft. My goal now is to I have a guide here. I'm planning on making the architecture for the models and the physics be more extendable so like that modders or users can implement custom breast models with breast physics. Basically, I just want to add support for deformable models or soft bodies, let's say. And currently I'm at step 1. I have split the structure. As you can see, I have a client section and a main section for the mod, fully independent, so you can anyone that wants to fork this off. I am not modifying any of the source code. I just copied the code itself and I just moved some chunks from one files and made new ones so like that it can be fully separate. And my future idea, I have it here. Basically, I want to implement something like this, where you can have one centralized file for custom models, where in the source code you can have it defined regular. The box would be the current default breast model, and the physics teardrop that's just like an idea of what could be done. And the hope, for me at least, since I did do an attempt on it and it kinda worked, I believe with the new version of the mod and all the having the code deobfuscated, which is helpful, but at the same time it isn't. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The idea is that I want to basically add support for different breast model designs or layouts or however you want to call it. I did see in the Discord that there was a mod showcase doing something similar to my idea, but I wanted to basically be more official, though it would take me a lot more time since I'm not used to this version of Minecraft nor the rename for the classes and all that stuff. But this is just a quick showcase I wanted to do for the mod. It does work. Like I can run the client while we wait. I can briefly show what I actually, yeah, I'm gonna show this. I had to move the mixins. Something that I noticed is that there are most of the mixins are client sided, and there's only, I believe, one mixin which is for the armor stands, which is primarily server side. So I moved that to the server, and a small issue I had was with how the mixins are loaded. Jesus Christ, I forgot to disable game music. But anyway, this is the new fabric mod, the JSON file, since I'm using the template structure for fabric mods, or at least that the structure that they give you when you go to the this online tool to generate a template. And the mod works. I have ironed it out. I don't get any errors as of now. You can select, you can see that it works, the rotation works, you can set no, yes, dual, you can disable all the primary mod functions are working. So now I'm going to move to the second phase, which is what I mentioned earlier, implementing this. I hope whoever's watching, you liked it, and I hope you could help me or give me ideas on what else I could add. But I'm primarily going to start working on this tomorrow or after tomorrow, since there are some things I noticed with how I wrote the code, which I'm going to change for better readability and maintainability.